If I looked at your bank statement, I could predict your future, and you probably would not like it. Matt Scaletti, back to you. We're doing a 10-part video series on spend like you mean it. It's on money, but the topic and video series will be titled Spend Like You Mean It. You don't have a money problem right now, you have a decision problem. I've talked to people about money for years. I've read books. I got Simple Path to Wealth, The Art of Spending Money. We got Your Money or Your Life. And of course, Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover and many others behind you. I love this topic. Looking at your bank statement, predicting your future. 3 years ago, I sat down with a buddy of mine named Steve. We will call him Steve the Spender, who said to me, Matt, I have tried countless things to save money, to invest some money, and nothing is working. He said consistently to me, I have tried everything. And I just blurted out to him, I didn't even have this as a thought. I said, can we open up your bank app and let's look through some of the transactions? And I think he was surprised that I asked him that. I was surprised that I asked him that. And he did it. So he opened up his banking app and he said, sure, actually, that's a great exercise. Let's do it. Let's do it. He also said, but you won't find anything. And I thought, maybe I won't. Who knows? Let's give it a shot. 20 plus minutes later, we discovered so many different things. And also, I discovered a lot about myself going through this process with him. He told me, Matt, I'm eating out a lot less. And the thing was, he was actually eating out a lot less at restaurants, but he was ordering DoorDash, Uber Eats, all these different services that brought food to him. And actually, when we went through the numbers, he was spending more when he stopped going out to restaurants than when he was going out because it was almost DoorDash every single day. And his food bill increased by more than $500 a month. He also had, and this is where I looked at myself in the mirror, he had three subscriptions that he said he hadn't used in over a year. And he didn't even know they were still recurring on his bank statement. That was another, I think it was 50, 60, $75 in a month for those three combined. Then the one that really stood out, and we went through this, and he has changed in a significant way, this part probably the most. He had a job where it was hands-on labor and he had to drive to the job site every single day. As a result, when he would wake up, he would normally put on his work clothes and boom, he was out the door and would just pick up something along the way. What we realized is what he was picking up along the way almost every single day was multiple energy drinks at a convenience store. It was whatever the snacks were, something that was fast food. And not only was it costing him, the amount that we came up with was over $700 a month he was spending. And that was on a low month. It was more than that many other months. And the other kicker was it was more unhealthy. Not only was he rushed to get out the door and his anxiety was already high, then he'd stop off at a convenience store or a fast food place, but he was not feeling good. He was gaining weight. He was feeling less healthy. And that was a big reason why he wanted to make a shift as well. It wasn't just financially, but it was his health. It was over $1,500 a month that we found in savings that he could do immediately. And this was in 30 minutes. And I will throw myself again under the bus because after doing this with him, I remember saying to him, we were sitting at this coffee shop and I said, Steve, I need to do this. I have to look through my bank statement and do the same exact thing. And I found plenty, not quite $1,500 a month worth, but plenty and those subscriptions and different random one-off purchases that I looked at and thought, what was I doing? And what we're doing really is we're contrasting intention with reality. Steve's intention, as was mine, as probably yours is We're going to be smart with money. We're going to make good decisions. We know what's going on underneath the hood until you lift up the hood and actually see what's going on. And you see all the transactions, whether it's Amazon or some other online store, and then you look at the transactions that you actually made. I remember doing this with Amazon years ago, and I thought, oh my God, did I really need some of this garbage that I bought? Most likely, no. In the majority of those cases, no. The shift that we're talking about in this video is awareness over excuses. Awareness is greater than excuses. And in Steve's case, as potentially in my case, maybe in your case, in other people's case that I've read in these different books, the awareness can be the most difficult part of the entire experience because we know that it's not a great situation. And if you know you're struggling financially, the hardest thing to do is to look at your finances. It's like if you know you're struggling with your health, the hardest thing to do is look at your health. And I will compare this to or share a story of when I was back in my alcoholic days. I knew how overweight I was. I didn't want to look at the scale. I knew the scale was going to say, I'm only 5'8". I knew it was going to say well over 200 pounds. As a result, what did I do? I avoided it. I did not look at it. I made excuses consistently. I blamed other people. Any of you have heard my story. I was incredibly good at this. I blamed family, friends, God, coworkers, anybody I could on my drinking. And it was not until I finally looked at myself in the mirror, stopped the excuses, and said, it's you. It is you making these decisions. Just like you don't have a money problem, you have a decision problem. I had a decision problem. I had a huge decision problem because it was a blame game, and that was the decision I was making. Let's blame everybody else. When I put it onto myself, then the process can begin to overcome those setbacks. And it wasn't until the awareness of, okay, I'm stepping on the scale, and it set a number that was hard for me to see. I believe it was 226 pounds was the first one. And again, as a 5'8" person, I didn't have a lot of muscle. I was obese. On the scale, I read obese. It was a painful moment to see the number, but it was also, I could breathe a sigh of relief because now I knew. Now I knew how will it feel when I get below 220, 210? How's it going to feel the first time the scale says 199? The same goes for money problems. How's it going to feel when the credit card debt goes from $5,000 to $3,000 to $1,000 to zero, and then you are debt free from high interest debt? How is that going to feel? How's it going to feel when you get that debt down from 10,000 to 4,000 to 1,000 to zero? Awareness is greater than excuses. And really, the hardest part about health, about wealth, about how you spend your time is having the guts to actually take a look at it. If this video does one thing, I hope it helps you just take a look. And it can take 3 minutes to open up your banking app, credit card app, whatever you use, and just scroll through and see, where am I leaking a little bit? What subscriptions haven't I used in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months? Where am I spending where I don't even need to be? Where can I save a little bit without reducing any of how I feel with my lifestyle? One of the things I see often, and you see this in offices all over the place, going out to eat. And I get it from a team building or social building or networking, then absolutely. I'm more of a coffee morning person. But if it's lunch, okay. But so many people just buying lunch, buying lunch, buying lunch. And it's, you look at that and you add it up, $20 a day over a month is what, $400 just in lunches? And it can add up quick. It can also add pounds on you because a lot of times eating out is not nearly as healthy as making lunch yourself. But the point is this, as we talk about what action can we take? Here's the action. Just like Steve and I did, Steve the Spender, I call him. Just like Steve the Spender and I did, pull the last 30 days of transactions. No editing, just look. And also maybe take it a step further. I'm not great at this, I'm working on it, of not judging. Maybe you just open up the last 30 days and take a peek. What does it look like? Maybe you don't even change anything. You just make yourself aware. This is where the money's going. And as you're looking at each of the transactions, think of them as it's a decision you and your family are making. No editing, no judging, just look. And it's hard not to judge. I still struggle with it every time when I look at different purchases that I make. And I think at least a few times a month, I'm like, did that really need to happen? But then you try to reduce some of those and just work on it and get better month over month. But that first time you're pulling it, it's just for the awareness. It is me stepping on the scale and seeing 226 and going, okay, that sucks, but we have a starting point. You may pull the last 30 days of transactions and go, okay, that sucks, but that's a starting point. You've now started the journey. This is step one in spending like you mean it. That's the 10-part series we're talking about. Spend like you mean it. Step one is you have to see where it's going. Look through them all. And if you're married, take a look at it with your spouse. Look at them all. Make a night of it. Make a date night of it. And you're just looking through without judgment and you're seeing where the money is going, at least for the last 30 days. And then next month, you do the same thing and you just take a peek. And now what's happening is this. This is the beautiful thing. In becoming aware of it, you will most likely make some shifts without even knowing it. As soon as I saw that 226 on the scale, I started making shifts because I knew the number and I knew I didn't want to see it say 226.1, right? Just like if this is the start of your journey and you're 5,000 in credit card debt, you don't want it to say 5,001. You want the next number to be lower as you reduce the debt, just like I was. As a result, I thought about the 226 number as I went about my days. Thought, oh, do I really need an extra large fry when I'm eating my sandwich? No, I don't really need that. That's probably not necessary. Let me just drink an extra bottle of water and I'm fine. And what happened? Did I lose 50 pounds in a month like people promise on YouTube and online? No, I didn't, because that's not reality. But I did see the number go from 226 to 224 to 222. And now it's this thing called momentum. And once the ball starts rolling, it gets really exciting. You build that momentum and it starts with pulling the last 30 days of transactions for you. And then it builds momentum. And now it's just a habit. At the end of each month, or pick a day of the month where you look back 30 days, boom. And just read them off. Okay, here's what it is. Okay, let's look the next month. And we will get through over the next 9 videos what to do now with that information. But step one on this Spend Like You Mean It video series is pull the last 30 days of transactions and without much judgment, if you can, realize the contrast between intention and what's really happening. Intention versus reality. And it starts with step one, which is awareness. Hit me up and let me know what your thoughts are when you become aware of your spending. Comment below. Comment below something if you notice, whatever you noticed. If you noticed something and thought, wow, I can't believe I spent this much on that or this, or spend so little on something. Share a comment, like and subscribe. I'd love to have more YouTube subscribers as we continue to grow this channel and continue to provide you with information and knowledge to help you become more free in life. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Challenges build champions.